Well, hello everybody. Check out him. Doesn't have a name, but it is him. I think he was a pretty worthwhile purchase. I've been on sort of a binge of just buying everything I possibly can from Aliexpress, and this little guy is part of that. He's just like a little guy. This is a weirder, this is a different video, slightly weird. As you can see from the title and the thumbnail, instead of talking about a specific reptile or amphibian, I'm gonna build a keyboard that's frog themed. I know, crazy, whatever. So I accidentally fell into the keyboard hobby, which in my opinion is like one of the stupidest hobbies that's out there, but like it's also the best because it's like so fun. There's just so much to customize and so many cool options, like how many different keys you want on, what kind of color keys, the layout, the feel, the sound, all that kind of stuff. There are an infinite amount of ways to show off your personality through a keyboard, and that's what I like to do. You can see that this new addition to my reptile room is not reptile related at all. I just have to have a wall to put my keyboards because I don't have enough space for all of them. But basically, I bought this keyboard, all the pieces are in a box, it's not put together yet, just because I wanted it, and it was like a cool looking keyboard, and it wasn't too expensive, and I'm like, yeah, this is a good thing to do. And I was thinking that I really want to make another frog themed video because I kind of didn't deliver when reviewing those frog TikToks, because frog TikToks were kind of lame and not really worth reviewing. And I was looking at this keyboard that I bought, and I noticed that the packaging has like a little frog on the bottom. And then it got me thinking, okay, this is a green keyboard, it's got frog type packaging. What if I just made a frog themed keyboard and I could turn it into a video? By the way, if you've checked out my content before, if you're just stopping by and you like what you're seeing so far, I would encourage you to subscribe and maybe like the video. And if you even feel inclined, leave a comment telling me whether or not I should get a haircut, because I don't know if I need to or not. I kind of want to grow my hair out, but also kind of don't. So would love some feedback about that. This isn't a fully built keyboard. It's actually just a case, you know, with some silicone dampening and stuff in it, but it is in no way a functioning keyboard, and I need to purchase parts and build it in order to make it into a functioning keyboard. There are some things I need to buy before I get into building it. The first are these things called key switches, and they look like this. They look like this. They're these tiny little plastic housings that essentially that's what your key sits on top of. And there's tons and tons and tons of different key switches out there, all that feel slightly different. Some of them are heavier, some of them are lighter. And basically there's 3 different types of key switches. You have linears, like these Gateron yellows, that essentially when you press them, they just go straight down. There's no bump, there's no click. It's just a regular switch. Next type of switch is called a tactile key. I have this kind of crappy Gateron brown right here. It's very similar to the linear, except instead of just going straight down, there's like a tiny little bump where you can feel like a little bit of a click when you push it down. Very similar in sound profile though. And the last one is a clicky switch, which is very similar to the tactile in the sense that it has a bump when you press it down, but when it hits that bump, it makes a little click. That's like the one that you see all the like hardcore gamers using, is they usually have like a Razer keyboard or a Red Dragon keyboard that has Cherry MX Blue switches in it, which are pretty popular, but albeit pretty crappy switches. The second thing I need to find are keycaps, which are the actual keys that go on top of the key switches. And those ones are pretty straightforward. There's tons of different colors, tons of different layouts that you can get. I just need to find something that works with this frog board. And I have a few things in mind, but we'll see what I end up with. And the last thing are called artisan keycaps, which is the same thing as regular keycaps, but they're usually created by individual artists that are like super detailed, and they add like a little bit of flair to your keyboard. So I think tracking down some frog themed or reptile themed or pond, swamp, rainforest type artisan keycaps is really going to make this frog keyboard all the more interesting and froggy-er. Yeah, it'll be cool basically, just bear with me. I'm gonna do some shopping. I'm gonna spare you the trouble of me shopping, and you know what, let's just cut to me with all of the materials and actually build the keyboard.
Okay, so basically this is the Ikki68 Aurora. It is coming here in this nice little plastic packaging, and all this white stuff on the inside is actually silicone dampening, and it's supposed to make the keyboard sound a little bit better, a little less, wee bit, you know, less hollow. Excuse me. So this is actually the plate. It's made of aluminum. It's green. Not much else to say. There's a little frog on there, so yeah, that's the inspiration. I love the packaging that this is in so much, but this is the PCB. It's Bluetooth. Feels nice, and you can see here we got another frog as well. Let's pass this along. Okay, this coiled cable here is fine as hell, and I initially wasn't going to use it because I didn't think it matched with my setup, but I think it complements it very nicely, so I want to use it. This is all just random crap. The important thing here is the stabilizers. These are put in place on some of the larger keys to make sure they don't rattle. This is really good ASMR, by the way. I'm gonna be quiet here. Okay, but these are these stabilizer parts, and I'm gonna struggle with these. Okay, but now that that's all out of the way, we're gonna look at the fun stuff. The first fun thing being the switches. Now, these are literally called Momoka Frog Switches. Like, how could I not use them? Here's a sound test. But yeah, that's what they sound like. They're actually the older version of one of my favorite switches, the Momoka female switches, flamingo switches. They're linears, and they're gonna sound awesome on this board. They're gonna be an absolute pain to lube, but whatever. Here's the keycap set. I bought it on Aliexpress for super cheap, which is the same place that I got this cute little stone frog. It's a Bulbasaur themed keycap set, and I don't really have any particular attachment to Pokemon. I just thought the color scheme was really frog-like. You can see that on many of the keys, including the spacebar, there's a lot of very explicit Bulbasaur labeling, so I'm just gonna go ahead and not use a lot of those keys. The non-Bulbasaur novelties are actually super nice because you can see there's some leaves, there's some flowers, but, you know, like I said earlier, there's a lot of these very explicitly themed Bulbasaur keycaps that I'm gonna go ahead and skip, but I'm gonna add my own artisans and use the non-Bulbasaur ones, and I will do my best to make it as froggy as possible, so yeah. Let's get right into the build. Make it epic and cool keyboard time build, bro. Okay, also, after filming that, like, rundown of all the parts I have, I just want to show you guys how janky my setup is real quick. Like, okay, so I was using this tripod instead of this normal one that I use because this one just, like, shook every time I was near it. So I was actually using it to balance this tripod up at an angle, and then this light just keeps flickering because it's cheap, and this one's okay, and then, like, because it was so close, I only had this much space to show, and like, it's whatever. We're making it work on a budget, and it's not like that many people watch my videos anyway, but still, it's janky, and I wish it was less janky, but overcoming the jankiness is part of the fun of making videos, I guess. But anyway, let's build a keyboard. So this is me testing out the PCB with these tiny little wire tweezers. I'm basically shoving them into the little sockets to see if they trigger a key press to make sure it all works, because I don't know, I don't want it to not work. I'm not gonna lie, getting these tiny little tweezers into these slots to test to see if every key works almost gave me a panic attack. I am not built for this. All right, let's lube the stabilizers. Dielectric grease right here. I gotta open this bag, but I'm having some trouble, so I'll just show you the lube I'm using. Stabilizers. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm applying this like Crytox 205 G0 knockoff lube to the inside housing of the stabilizer. This is just to reduce all these friction points and to make sure that it doesn't rattle and create an unnecessary noise. Now I'm trying to screw them into the PCB, and I'm having so much trouble, and I'm so frustrated, I'm so angry, like, you'll hear me. Oh, I fucking hate installing these stabilizers. Pieces are so small and they're so messed up, and this makes me so angry. Okay, anyway, I'll finish them soon. Yeah, that was a lie. It took me like over an hour and a half to finish screwing them in. My hands just kept trembling so much, and I kept like panicking over the super small parts because anxiety or whatever, but oh my god. Oh my god, I can't believe that's done. That was one of the single hardest things I've had to do with my hands. That is insane, dude. My hands are like not built for this kind of stuff. Anyway, let's move on, Jesus. This is definitely me when I'm adding a sheet of silicone in between my plate and my PCB. Essentially what this does is it dampens some of the like tinny or like pingy hollow noises that are coming when you hit the keys, so it just makes it sound a little bit better, and you know, we want the keyboard to sound good. So now I'm just absolutely stuffing this entire thing with silicone because we want absolutely no noise to escape. This is its eternal damnation to be stuck inside this plastic board. Smash that plate in, put the top case on, And then I'm gonna screw some of these bottom screws in just like a little bit too tight, and it's gonna result in me slightly cracking the board, but what is broken can be reforged. Something scars make you beautiful. So what I'm doing here is lubing switches, which I think should only be a punishment that should be cataloged as cruel and unusual. And I'm not showing like all of it because I stupidly didn't have my hands in the frame, but it's a painstaking process. You gotta take all of these switches apart and lube all the tiny little bits. I think it's worth it because the keyboard sounds amazing, but yeah, it was a painstaking process. It took so long. So now I'm just loading all of the switches onto the board and then putting the keycaps on top of the switches. You can see too here in the bottom left, I didn't notice this until I started filming, that straight up I just forgot to install the left shift stabilizer, which sucks, but like it's not a big deal. Like I don't really notice it, but still I like worked hard to make that stabilizer sound good. So now we're just loading all the keycaps on. I think at the time of filming this, I was still waiting on my artisans to come in, so we just have that wooden frog placeholder in the top, but I'll do a view of what it looks like before the artisans and then after the artisans, and then you know what? Let's just get right into doing that, and then we can do a sound test, which is what everyone's here for. Also, that wooden frog keycap, I should explain, I bought to use as an escape key, but it barely fit, and I couldn't press it down without also pressing down the one key, so I'm not going to use it. Cool looking keycap, bad design. Let's put the other artisans on now.
Free me from this plastic prison, Slimy.
So I think the build went pretty decently. I'm really happy with the way my keyboard looks and the way, especially the way it feels and the way it sounds. Like, I really like the super sort of dampened sound. I think the only thing I wish I could have done better, honestly, making it more frog themed. The keycap set I have here, the Bulbasaur keycap set, color-wise, aesthetic-wise, I think it looks awesome. I love these two little artisans I bought. I think that's money well spent. The only thing is, like, there were other keycap sets that I saw that were more frog themed, I guess. The first one was this Arboretum keycap set, which I bought and initially wanted to use and then didn't, only because the colors of the keycaps didn't actually match the board. I ended up just using that as my work keyboard right here, you can see. And, you know, I got this little axolotl keycap as well to use for the frog board, but it ended up not working out because one, it's too large, and two, it just doesn't match the theme of the keyboard. There were a couple other keycap sets I saw too. One was like this witchy keycap set, which I really like actually. The frog flare on it is really cute. It's just like so expensive, and I just don't or didn't have the money to want to pay for that right now. It also didn't match with the board that I got, so. And then there was one more that was explicitly frog themed, but it's been sold out everywhere and you can't find clones. So I think I did a pretty good job with the Bulbasaur keycap set. I think it looks really nice, really fire, just not as much frog flair as I wanted it to be. But spiritually, it is still a frog keyboard. Hopefully this video turns out just as nice as the keyboard did. I work full time now. Mental health is kind of taking a huge dive. So it's hard to like find the motivation to, you know, keep these videos going, but I'm not done. I'm gonna continue making videos. I need to upgrade like a bunch of my reptile cages. So if you guys like those upgrade videos, there's gonna be the biggest one I've ever done thus far is gonna come soon. And then when that's over, I'll do like a full reptile room tour, and then I want to do a video. I finally have this like neat idea for a video where I just get to harass my frogs for an entire video, of course in a very nice way. So thanks for watching. If you want a keyboard, you can't have this keyboard because it's sold out now. It's mine and mine only. But beyond that, see you next time.